up crying myself to sleep most nights. And hey, the Yankees just looking pretty good. What can you say? Aaron Judge ruined my Friday night with the grand slam, and coming through today with yet another one. Well, not another grand slam, another home run. I believe 53 on the year now. But taking a look at the American League East, 87 and 63 for the Yankees as of right now, 84 and 66 for the Orioles. So now let's kind of just dive into the Yankees here, right? Like I said, winning 3 out of 4 against the Red Sox this weekend. They won 2 out of 3 against the Royals this week. Aaron Judge, I mean, this guy's just having a heck of a season. He's probably going to win the MVP in the American League. I'd be shocked if he didn't win the MVP. But, funny enough with the offense with the Yankees, taking a look here, in the month of September, the Yankees offense, hasn't really been anything, I would say. Actually, hold on, I got the wrong date here. Actually, so here we go. Taking a look in September, the Yankees offense has only ranked 23rd overall in this month coming into today, hitting 228 with a 318 on base, a 326 slugging, only an 87 WRC plus. So, if we were to take a look here at some of the guys on the Yankees for this month so far, right? Gleyber Torres, Jazz, Verdugo, they've been hitting pretty well alongside Judge and Soto. Judge and Soto consistently have not been hitting amazing, but they've been coming through in big spots, right? Juan Soto, hey, he's come through in a couple of big spots here, especially against my Red Sox lately. Aaron Judge, we already talked about that. So, those guys, you know what they're going to be in a lineup. They're just, even if they're not hitting well, there's still a presence in that lineup. But, Stanton, Rizzo, Wells, Volpe, they need to start picking it up a little bit. They need to start, kind of picking up the back half of that lineup a little bit more. But, overall, the Yankees lineup hasn't really ranked particularly well this coming month. They're still getting the job done. But most of all, though, it's been because of the pitching for the Yankees, right? This month, the Yankees starting pitching, I'll talk about Garrett Cole in just a second here, but the Yankees starting pitching ranked 7th overall this month, and the bullpen has been pretty solid as well. They're 11th overall this month. Now, the Yankees bullpen, they're 5-2 in the month of September, ERA at a 4.71, but the FIP is at a 3.54. So Yankees, their pitching is just looking really solid right now, and I think, the offense, when you just get these guys that are coming through in the big spots, they're getting the job done when they need to, they don't need to particularly hit the cover off the ball. They're just doing enough, and the pitching is carrying them through. And, let's talk about Garrett Cole here. Yeah, that was an interesting one this past weekend with Garrett Cole. And, hold on, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm looking at relief pitching. I need to look at the starting pitching. There we go. Did anyone catch, what happened with Garrett Cole this past weekend with Rafael Devers? We all know the history of Garrett Cole and Rafael Devers. Rafael Devers just takes this guy to town. He takes his lunch money, takes his lunch, eats it in front of him. Rafael Devers, in his career against Garrett Cole, I don't know what it is. I think he just sees him really well. I don't know. He just reads him very well. Who knows? I don't know what it is. But Garrett Cole, this past weekend, he decided to intentionally walk Rafael Devers with the bases empty. That was really interesting. I don't think I had ever seen anything like that before, especially from a guy that's considered one of the best starting pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. Like, in a way, so here's my take on it, right? I can understand it. I get it because of obviously the history, and he just can't seem to figure out Rafael Devers, right? But my goodness, you're one of the top dogs out there. You're getting paid the big bucks. Instead of walking the guy, you got to figure out how to get by this guy. That was just sort of crazy because as I was letting it unfold in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I understand it. I get it. But this is not what a man does. You need to go at him. You need to just keep battling. That was very odd. I didn't fully, I don't know. It was just very weird. It was very odd. I don't know. But then it led to a big inning for the Red Sox. So that was just a mistake in itself, too. So I don't know. Garrett Cole, he just can't win. He just can't win. I'd say next time, I don't know. Maybe if you got a couple of runners on or a runner on, maybe you could, like if you had a runner on second, maybe, if you want to try and get a double play, you can walk him in that instance, right? Yeah, base is empty. I don't know about that one. That one, no, you don't do that. You don't do that. Anyway, but Garrett Cole didn't pitch all that great in that game yesterday, but they have been getting some great pitching from Luis Gil. Carlos Rodon has been pretty solid for the most part. Nestor Cortez, not really anything amazing there. But Clark Schmidt, he's been pitching all right here. But the Yankees are getting enough pitching here. But the bullpen, taking a look at what these guys are doing out there in the bullpen, right? The main talking point for the Yankees this year has been Clay Holmes. This guy's been just blowing saves left and right. But they have been getting other guys stepping up here. Tim Hill, Luke Weaver, right? So, they got guys that are coming through. They're doing this, kind of bullpen by committee kind of a thing, right? And even Luke Weaver's picked up a couple of saves here. So I think in the end, this Yankees team, they just have a lot of talent here. And, when it comes to the American League East, they're putting themselves in a great position here. And I think a lot of, credit goes to Judge and Soto in that lineup, right? They keep that lineup going. But taking a look at the Baltimore Orioles, right? The Baltimore Orioles, 84-66. They're not playing all that great, man. Second half with Baltimore has not been great. I don't know. That first half, they looked so good, right? Things were churning. Everything was smooth. They were hitting. They were pitching. Then they started kind of going off the rails a little bit, right? Getting some injuries with the starting pitching. Did make a couple of trades. But then the bullpen was showing a lot of inconsistencies. The bullpen, once again this past week, showing more inconsistencies there. I've said this on our last Power Rankings show. I'm worried about the Baltimore Orioles. I felt confident about them going into the second half. But seeing how shaky this bullpen has been, seeing, the offense kind of be up and down a little bit in the second half, not fully seeing what you were in the first half, right? Starting pitching, getting dinged with injuries. Even Zach Eflin, after you got him at the deadline, he's been very up and down, right? I don't know. I'm losing a little confidence in this Orioles team. And what I keep noticing about the Orioles from the players, I keep hearing this one thing said in different ways. It feels like we're so close. It feels like we're right there. It feels like we take a step forward, but then we take two steps back. Is that what the Orioles are going to be in the postseason? I don't know. I go back to the trade deadline, right? I can respect the Zach Eflin move, but, and people will get on to me. Oh, Robbie, let the Tarek Skubal thing go. Who knows? Maybe the Tigers, they just literally did not want to give up the guy. And, hey, it's ended up paying off for the Tigers because here they are. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But, the Orioles, I think, had a good trade deadline, but you feel like it could have been better. With all the prospects they got, you feel like you're right there this year and you really could have gone for it. And I don't know, is that kind of starting to really bite them a little bit? I don't know. Then again, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Was someone even like Skubal even a possibility? I'm not sure about that. But Baltimore, they got to figure something out here. When we're taking a look here at Baltimore, right? They're 26-28 in the second half. They're 6-7 in the month of September. The offense has been fine. They're 11th overall. They're getting decent starting pitching for the most part. But like I said, it's this bullpen. It's very up and down. Look at Baltimore's bullpen here in the month of September. Overall, they rank 15th, but they got a 5.08 ERA in the month of September. Now, the FIP is better at 3.56, but, at the end of the day, ERA, it is what it is, right? Yes, FIP, I like me some FIP, but when you got an ERA over 5, you're not getting it done, right? They got a good strikeout to walk ratio, but, when you kind of see what's going on, I don't know, like Sir Anthony Dominguez has been a bit up and down. Obviously, Craig Kimbrell, he's just missed. Craig Kimbrell is Mr. Up and Down. When he is up, that guy is just lights out. But when he's down, it's bad. Now, Gregory Soto, he gave up a home run today. I said this about Gregory Soto. I go back to my regrading the trade deadline. I gave that move an F, right? And people were like, whoa, hold on a second, Robbie. Soto, he's thrown like 8 straight scoreless appearances. You know, when you looked at the overall ERA with the Orioles, it's pretty high because he had a couple of just horrendous outings when he first came over to the Orioles. You know, and people were saying to me, well, but Robbie, he's pitched like 7 scoreless, innings, straight. Okay, that's great, right? But the guy is super inconsistent. I don't know, man. I just felt like you could have done a little bit better than Gregory Soto, in my opinion. I think there were just better options out there than him. He just scares me. When he's on, yeah, he's kind of like Kimbrell in a way, right? When he's got himself right, he's hard to hit. But when he's off, he's off. And I don't know. He doesn't give me a lot of confidence. Dominguez, I don't know. I just feel like with him, like he's been fine for the most part so far. But I feel like he can be prone to some shakiness. Right? So far with Baltimore, he has the 3.26 ERA, but he's taken a couple losses already. And if you take a look at the FIP, it's a 5.14. I don't know. This bullpen worries me with Baltimore. And, they got some injuries, with the rotation, right? Grayson Rodriguez, what's going on with him? I don't know here with Baltimore. I don't know. Like, when I'm looking at this Yankees team right now, it just feels like even when they're not at the top of their game, when you look at the numbers, the Yankees just feel like they're just a step ahead right now, at least, right? I mean, sure, Burns, he's gotten himself right. He was having some clunkers there in the month of August, but Cade Povich, he's been a little up and down, right? I don't know. Kramer, he's looked decent. But this rotation right now, it doesn't give me a lot of confidence in the postseason. And listen, no disrespect to Corbin Burns, but go back to last year. Go back to the wild card round last year when he was with the Brewers, right? Going up against the Diamondbacks. He wasn't very great in that outing. Wasn't anything special. And right now, the Orioles are on their way to a wild card appearance. If we were to take a look here at the chances of winning the division, the Yankees right now, they have an 88.2% chance to win the division according to Fangraphs. The Orioles are at 11.8%. That's looking a little lopsided if you ask me. Now, if we were to take a look at Tankathon, I'm sure most of you in here are familiar with Tankathon. As of right now, when you're looking at the remaining strength of schedule, right? The Orioles right now are sitting at 8. They got the Yankees for 3. That is going to be a big series. Very big series. Let's actually go here. Let me pull that up here. Let's go. When do the Yankees and the Orioles play each other? That is going to be next week from the 24th through the 26th. That is going to be the division right there. Right. Well, if they're still, within a few games, well, we'll see, because the Yankees, they got a tough little matchup here with the Mariners coming up this week. We'll talk about the Mariners in just a little bit, but then they got the A's. So the Orioles, they're going to have to make sure that they're on top of their game, because the Yankees, they got the A's next weekend, while the Orioles next weekend, well, they got the Tigers, right? And hey, look how good the Tigers are playing lately. So the Orioles right now, I don't know. I mean, they're going to, they got San Francisco this week. San Francisco, I mean, they're out of the playoff picture at this point, but, they're not a pushover by any means. I didn't even see Elliot Ramos today. Everyone was going crazy over the, I guess, the first ever right-handed hitter to hit a home run into the Cove. I didn't even think that was, I thought for sure there was a right-handed hitter at one point in their career that hit a home run into the Cove. I didn't know that. Well, that's pretty cool. But they got the Giants this week. So, if you're looking at the Orioles' strength of schedule here, I don't know. It's not looking too good. They got the Twins as well. The Twins, they're battling right now. They got a sense of urgency right now. And then you look at the Yankees. Like I said, you got the Orioles. They got the Mariners. The Mariners, they're playing hot right now. But they got the Pirates and the A's. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I think right now, you got to give the edge to the Yankees for this American League East. I'm just saying. But let's move on. Let's move on here. We have a couple other races to talk about. Let's dive into the American League wildcard. Shall we? Everyone, while I'm getting this ready, if you can, just hit that like button for me. The goal for tonight is 100 likes. We're at 60. If we can get 40 more, we will hit our goal. But this wild card race has gotten rather interesting. I mean, at one point, it was like, okay, who's going to get this third wild card? Is it going to be the Royals or is it going to be the Red Sox? Well, now the Royals, they've just cemented themselves. They've been playing pretty solid for the most part over the last few weeks. And the Twins, losing 2 out of 3 to the Reds this weekend, and they're only up 2.5 games on the Tigers and the Mariners. 2 teams that have completely woken up here in the last couple of weeks. The Twins are not playing great. I talked about the Twins in our last power rankings. They're not playing inspiring baseball, everyone. They're 25-28 in the second half. They're 6-8 this month. They've been decimated by injuries, right? They had injuries with Correa, Buxton, Brooks Lee. I mean, they had a lot of guys there, right? Joe Ryan as well on the pitching staff. They had a lot of guys going down. Now, they did get Correa and Buxton back, but they're pretty much day-to-day at this point. Rocco Baldelli was talking about it, saying, we're just going to kind of see how they feel, right? If they're feeling a little off, right, they're going to have the day off. So what are they even going to be like when it comes to playing time? I don't know. But the offense really needs something. They're only 24th overall this month in the offense. I don't know, man. Twins are worrying me in this lineup. Then, when you look at the rotation with the Twins, I mean, let's just take a look here. I mean, right now, this Twins rotation, they would love to have Sonny Gray right now. I'll tell you that. They'd love to have Sonny Gray. Now, Pablo Lopez, Bailey Ober, they've been pitching pretty solid as of late. But Simeon Woods-Richardson, Festa, Zebby Matthews, they're not getting it done. I don't know, man. No Joe Ryan. I'm worried about this pitching staff. I don't know. Bullpen, I guess, has been all right. No, I mean, I think I think they're fine in the bullpen for the most part. But when it comes to this lineup, when it comes to consistency, along with the rotation, I'm a little worried about this Twins team. Now, if we were to talk about the Seattle Mariners, I mean, this Mariners team, what a frustrating team this has been this year. Mariners fans, I feel for you this year. I mean, this has been a whirlwind of a year. But go back to 1995, everyone. 1995, the Seattle Mariners. Right? They went on this heck of a run. I think they were back like 11 games in that division. I think behind the Rangers, or was it the Angels? I can't remember. I was 5 years old at the time. I was living in England, so I don't have a recollection of that. But the Mariners, hey, they've done it before. They've made a late charge, and they're trying their very best right now to get it done. They've won 4 out of their last 7 series. The offense has been a complete difference under Dan Wilson and Edgar Martinez. They have come in and they have completely changed the game. All right, the Mariners are 3rd in offense since Dan Wilson took over as manager and Edgar Martinez came in. They're 3rd in offense. We saw what the Mariners' offense was all the way up to the point when Scott Servais got fired. They were bottom 10 pretty much the entire year. Right? They're striking out a ton. They weren't getting on base. They weren't getting anything done. Right? Even after bringing over Randy Rosarena and Justin Turner, they still weren't getting anything done. But Dan Wilson, Martinez, they came in, they brought in a different philosophy, and the Mariners are looking like a completely different team. If we were to pull up the numbers here on Fangraphs, taking a look at some of these guys, seeing what they're doing since they have switched over with the Mariners, or switched over with the manager, taking over at, I think, what was it, August 23rd? Nope, I did that. I completely messed that up. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. August 23rd through today. All right, so Victor Robles, this guy's been amazing. What the heck happened to Victor Robles? I thought Victor Robles was pretty much done, and then he went to the Mariners, and he completely came alive. Luke Raley, he's been solid. He's got a .673 slugging since Dan Wilson took over. Julio Rodriguez has finally woken up. Justin Turner's been solid. Justin Turner's been a great pickup for the Mariners. My goodness. Look at Justin Turner since Dan Wilson became manager, hitting .292, a .397 on base, and a .477 slugging. That's why they brought the guy over. He's a good veteran bat. Dylan Moore, he's been solid. He's got speed. Randy Rosarena, solid. Kyle Riley, solid. These guys are hitting. If only if they can get something from Garver, Crawford, Haniger, Polanco. If those guys could hit, this lineup would be unstoppable right now. It would be unstoppable. So either way, though, the Mariners are getting this done. They're absolutely getting this done. You know what they can do in the pitching staff. These guys are solid. I think Kirby got knocked around a little bit in his last start, but, these guys are, come on. You can count on the starting pitching. Now, Luis Castillo is dealing with a bit of a hamstring issue at this point. A grade 2. So, let's see what happens with him. A grade 2 hamstring strain. That's not too good. Not too good. But these other guys can step up for them. You can count on Gilbert. You can count on Kirby. Wu and Miller have been amazing, right? Bullpen lately, pretty solid for the most part. Colin Snyder did take the loss this past Thursday. But the Mariners are playing great baseball. Playing great baseball right now. And then when you take a look at the strength of schedule, they have a pretty, I wouldn't say it's, completely, an easygoing schedule, right? We talked about the Yankees. They got them coming up this week. We got the Astros, right? But they got the A's for 3. They got the Rangers for 3. So the Mariners are kind of right there in the middle. They're going to dictate their own future here, right? I think they have a shot at this thing. They absolutely do, especially with their pitching. That's the advantage they have over the Twins. The Twins starting pitching right now is not consistent. The Mariners starting pitching has been consistent all year. The offense for the Twins, are they going to be able to, is Correa going to be able to play enough? Is Buxton going to be able to play enough? Are they going to be able to have these guys step up for them? I don't know. The Mariners are getting hot at the right time. Right now, who knows? Things could change this coming week, but right now, as I'm sitting in this chair talking to all of your friendly faces, I like the Mariners right now. I don't know, but let's talk about the Tigers. What even happened with this Tigers team? I don't even know what I had completely written them off. I was done. And here's the thing. I was one of the few people coming into the year. I was high on the Tigers. Right, but I'm looking at what's going on, and these guys aren't hitting all year. Pretty solid pitching for the most part, right? Skubal Cy Young season, getting some good performances from the other guys there, but they weren't hitting anything. And lately, they have been doing a much better job, right? They just won a big series against the Orioles this weekend, 2 out of 3. That's massive, right? They're 8-6 this month. They've won 7 out of their last 10. They're 9th in offense on the month. That's the key. They can pitch. They got guys, right? It's not just Skubal, right? How about Brant Herter? This guy was pitching in the bullpen. This guy was having a no-hitter against the Orioles this weekend. My goodness. Even Kaider Montero was pitching well, right? Oh yeah. You got Reese Olson on the IL right now. But they're getting the job done, and they're getting some pretty decent performances, overall in this bullpen, right? Yeah, sure. Foley, he took a loss on Thursday. Gunther had a blown save. But for the most part, Tigers' bullpen has been pretty solid this year. It's the offense that's the key. They have woken up. Riley Green, couple of home runs this weekend. Parker Meadows, Trey Sweeney has been a really nice pickup for them. He's been great. Trey Sweeney, can we actually say Trey Sweeney is the unsung hero right now for the Detroit Tigers? I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, the batting average doesn't look all that great. On base doesn't look all that great, but he's got a 420 slugging. He's got 4 home runs. I mean, he's coming through. He's hitting pretty well, especially lately. Carpenter, Keith, they're stepping up lately. They're doing well. If they can hit, they got a chance. But I want to point this out. Sorry to go back to strength of schedule once again, but let's just take a look here. Strength of schedule. They have the 3rd easiest schedule for the rest of the year. They do got the Orioles for 3 more. They do got KC for 3 more. But then they end their season with the White Sox and the Rays. Listen, if they can get through Baltimore and Kansas City, they got KC on the road starting tomorrow, and they got Baltimore next weekend. If they can win these 2 series, oh man. And then they got Tampa. Tampa's pesky. Listen, you got 3 against the White Sox to end your season. I mean, you couldn't ask for more of a birthday gift. If the Tigers are within a game going into the last series against the White Sox, oh boy, this could end up being pretty fun. I think you could end up seeing a photo finish here because the Tigers, they have just such a favorable matchup to end their season. I'm just saying. Now, taking a look here at Fangraphs when it comes to the playoff odds. Right now, when it comes to the wild card spots, they got the Royals at 88.8%. They got the Orioles at 87.6%. They got the Twins at 82.8%. They are still favoring this Twins team. Let me actually just make sure. Are these updated? Yes, they are. Okay. They give the Tigers 9.7%. They give the Mariners 5.2%. Nope, my Red Sox are not going to make it. I don't think my Red Sox have enough to go on a run. But right now, if I were to lean one way, I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty split on the Tigers and the Mariners at this point because I would, if I would lean one way, I'd probably lean Mariners at this point. The Tigers do have that really favorable matchup. This is a huge week for Detroit. Huge. It's massive. I mean, you got 2 tough teams here. You got 2 wild card teams this coming week. If they win both of those series and they gain a game on the Twins this week, I think you really have to give the Tigers a shot. The Mariners, if we were to look at their schedule to end the year, right? So who do they have? So you got the Yankees this week, got the Rangers. They end their season with the A's. Listen, I think we could get a bit crazy at that last weekend. I really do. I mean, you got the A's here for the Mariners to end their season. It is a division matchup, though. I know the White Sox are a division matchup for the Tigers, too, but come on. It's the freaking White Sox, for crying out loud. I don't know. Right now, I'm leaning Mariners, but I need to see how this week plays out, right? The Mariners, they got a tough matchup here with the Yankees. They're on the road in Texas, and then they got the Astros. And they got a day off tomorrow, and then they got 9 straight games before another day off. So this is going to be interesting. Right now, I'll lean. I'm going to be very honest. I'm worried about this Twins team. Let's actually look at the Twins schedule. Let's see how that's set up for the last couple of weeks here. That was a big win for them today. That was a big win for them today. So they got Cleveland on the road for 4, and then they got my Red Sox at Fenway. I feel like my Red Sox have played the Twins pretty well over the last couple of years. But then they got the Marlins, which that should be good for them going into that last series. But then you got the Orioles. But that could be interesting with the Orioles, depending on where they're at when it comes to the playoff race, right? Maybe they're in a position where they could win that division. So maybe the Orioles, they're playing, they're looking to play their best baseball at that point. But if the Orioles are pretty much set in stone for a wild card spot, then maybe they're resting guys that weekend. We'll see. This is not an easy schedule for the Twins. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very worried about the Twins here. Coming into the year, I was like, I liked the Twins coming into this year, but I wasn't the highest on them. And the one thing I worried about was the loss of Sonny Gray. And it's really, go back to my season preview. I mean, I don't remember what I said exactly, but I feel like I said, I don't know, losing Sonny Gray is a big loss. And right now, that's a huge loss because their rotation's struggling. I'm worried about the Twins. I like the Tigers and the Mariners a lot more right now. Maybe that's recency bias, but I don't know. Let's talk about one more. One more before we get out of here for the night. We did have a super chat coming in. Matthew Villarreal, $4.99. Could you guys see the Padres win the West and winning the National League? Well, let's take a look-see. So, taking a look at the divisions here. Let's see. What do we got here? So, right now, and I think the Dodgers just completely exploded. I think they were tied with the Braves, and I think the Dodgers scored 20 runs or something like that. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Dodgers are going to hold on for that division. I don't think the Padres are going to win it. I don't know. We've seen crazier things. I think the Dodgers will win out. But also, because if you're looking at the schedules remaining, I mean, the Dodgers, they got 6 against the Rockies, and they got 3 against the Marlins. I mean, that's pretty nice. Well, I mean, let's say the Rockies, I think they can give you some fits sometimes, right? I mean, you do got the Padres. I mean, they do go head-to-head here. Right? Let's take a look here. Let's see. Padres, when do they play? Is that this week? If that's this week, that's a big series. Ooh, Padres got the Astros this week. That's tough. You got the White Sox next weekend. So that could be interesting. Depending on what the Dodgers do in their next series. If the Dodgers drop a couple and the Padres are able to win a couple, and then the Padres go in the next weekend against the White Sox, let's say they sweep that, I think you could potentially, they could be easily within a game of the Dodgers going into this series. Then you got the Diamondbacks, though. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm still thinking the Dodgers are going to hang on and win that division. I just think I don't know. When you're 3.5 back at this point, that's tough to overcome. That's tough, especially when you got a talented team like the Dodgers. Granted, here's the thing, everyone. Let me know in the chat here. Are you worried about the Dodgers in the postseason? Don't think about the postseasons of the past with the Dodgers. Take that out. Just look at the Dodgers this year, right now. Don't even think about the past playoffs. Don't think about Dave Roberts. Is it fair to say that it's okay to be a little worried about the Dodgers without Tyler Glasnow? I don't think that's a hot take. Dodger fans are probably going to get very upset at me. They got very upset at me when I said Francisco Lindor has a case for the MVP. Didn't say he should be the MVP. I said he has a case for the MVP, and Dodger fans are coming at me with pitchforks on fire. They wanted to rip my head off. So don't get mad. Don't get upset with me. I'm just saying. I think Glasnow should be ready. I saw today that Glasnow was out indefinitely. Well, I mean, did I miss something? I saw Tyler Glasnow highly unlikely to return this year due to an elbow sprain. So this is Bailey. You're saying Glasnow should be ready. I don't think so, my friend. I think he is out. So I don't know about that one. But right now, the Dodgers, I mean, listen, you got bats for days. But listen, you got to pitch. I mean, you got Flaherty. That's nice. I think, honestly, a big X factor. I mean, I think the biggest X factor for the Dodgers is Walker Buehler. All right, you're going to have Flaherty. You're going to have Yamamoto. I actually expect Flaherty to probably start game 1. I would probably have Yamamoto go game 2. Walker Buehler game 3. Or Kershaw. I mean, what's going on with Kershaw? So he's got the foot thing. I mean, I don't know. Who do you go with in a game 3? Do you go with Clayton Kershaw? Or do you go with Walker Buehler? Ooh. That's a toughie. I mean, Walker Buehler has been miserable this year. He actually looked pretty good today, though. 6 innings, 1 earned. I mean, I'm just saying. Is Gavin Stone going to be ready? I mean, what's going on with Gavin Stone? Haven't seen anything on him lately. I mean, he had the shoulder stuff going on. A couple of days ago, he's expected to begin a throwing program. But listen, I mean, you're a couple of weeks away here from the postseason. Realistically, how many innings is Gavin Stone going to pitch if he's ready for the postseason? I mean, he's not going out there and throwing 7 innings. I mean, let's be realistic here. If he's coming back from a shoulder issues, I mean, you're probably looking at an innings limit for sure. I mean, he's already thrown a career high in innings in his pro career. So I don't think the Dodgers are going to push him. So I think at this point, I don't know. Who do you go with in a game 3? Do you go Kershaw or do you go Buehler? I don't know. Maybe I'd say look at Buehler over his next couple of starts, and if he's looking pretty good, I'd probably go Walker Buehler. I think Walker Buehler is an X factor for the Dodgers, right? But thank you, Matthew, for the super chat. Now, when it comes to winning the National League, yeah, I think the Padres have a shot. Why not? They got good bats, good pitching, both in the rotation and the bullpen. I think the Padres have a chance. I think they're very underrated. Right? And you had one more, 499. Who's the scariest team in the NL West in a postseason series? I would say the Padres. I would. Even over the Diamondbacks a little bit. Right? I just like the pitching with the Padres. And I like the bullpen. I do. I like the Diamondbacks. The Padres, they kind of scare me a little bit. You know? Listen, when you got this kind of a rotation, man. I mean, pulling up the rotation here. I mean, I don't know. You got gamers here, man. You got Cease. You got King. You got Musgrove. Even Martin Perez has been pitching okay lately. I like the Padres. I do. I mean, you got shut down guys at the back end of the bullpen. I mean, that's a nasty bullpen. Suarez, Scott, and Adam. I mean, that's nasty. Hoeing, middle relief. This bullpen's good. Padres are good, man. They got a deep lineup. They got good pitching. Darvish just came back. I like the Padres, man. I do. All right, let's get to the last series. Matthew, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Thank you for the super chat. Now, let's get to the National League wild card. Here we go. So, the Braves just took a fat L tonight. They got cooked. They were tied in what was it, the 8th inning? And they got absolutely cooked. My goodness. This is crazy. Now, if you go back to, me talking before the season, I was telling all of you, man, I said, listen, I think the Mets are going to be in this thing until the end. I think they're going to be competing. I think they're going to be hanging around. Here they are. I just didn't expect them to be hanging around with the Atlanta Braves. I mean, who saw this? This is crazy. Braves and the Mets going at it for the last wild card. If you told me the Diamondbacks and the Mets, Padres and the Mets, yeah, I would have been like, okay, yeah, I think that's reasonable. But the Braves and the Mets, I don't know about this, man. Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. This Mets team right now, yes, they dropped their series to the Phillies. That was a big series loss right there, especially with the Braves losing tonight. That's a big loss. But luckily for the Mets, the Braves ended up taking a fat L. Real Muto with the walk-off today. But overall, the Mets, they're playing great baseball here in the second half. They're 9-5 on the month. They're getting guys stepping up in this lineup. Lindor, he does have the back injury right now, but this guy's been just legit in the second half. Vientos has been clutch this year. Winker has been a good pickup for them. Alvarez, he's been solid. They do need a little bit more from Pete Alonso, in my opinion. I think Brandon Nimmo needs to step up a little bit more, try and get more out of Marte. But they are getting good production out of this lineup. But the key for the Mets has been the pitching. This starting pitching has been absolutely sensational for the New York Mets. They're 6 overall. Sorry, I was about to say that backwards. They're 1st overall in starting pitching in the month of September. And they're 6th overall in relief pitching. Peterson was fantastic today. Sean Manaea has been pitching his butt off. Does anyone realize how good Sean Manaea has been this year? Do you realize how fat of a contract Sean Manaea is going to get himself this year? This guy's been a workhorse. 29 starts this year, 164 innings pitched, 3.35 ERA, 3.78 on the FIP. I see you in the chat. This is Bailey. What happened to Senga? Well, Senga had the injury, right? Senga had the injury. But, could you imagine if they had Senga at the top of his game? This would be over. This would be done. Kaput. Done. But Manaea, he's been great. Great pickup. He's going to get himself a nice contract this offseason. Quintana's been great. He was very up and down in the first half of the year, but he's finishing strong here. ERA at the 3.91. If we were taking a look at his last couple of starts here, he's been great. Yeah, he's only given up 1 earned run in his last 4 starts. He gave up 1 against the White Sox. Of course, the one team he has to give up a run against over his last 4, it's the White Sox. But Quintana has been absolutely amazing. Ever since he gave up 7 against the Orioles, he's gone 3-0 over his 4 starts, 25 innings, a 0.36 ERA. Jose freaking Quintana, man. Man, oh man. But this pitching has been great. Very good. It is carrying them. The Mets, they just got to keep pitching. They got to match up with the Braves and their pitching. Now, with Atlanta, and what do you know? Sound FX is dropping a super chat right when I'm talking about the Braves. Sound FX, $10 super chat. Braves squandered their best opportunity to take hold of the final wild card slot tonight against the Dodgers. It's a split at best, and the chances of us missing the postseason are high now. Prove me wrong. Yeah, they definitely gave up a clunker there tonight. Gave up a clunker. I will give you some optimism, though. Chris Sale, this guy just continues to look like a Cy Young, man. They're 3rd in starting pitching. They're 3rd in relief pitching this month. They continue to pitch great. They are getting some better production from Olsen, Ozuna, Soler, Kelnick, Harris a little bit. They need Sean Murphy and Arcia to step up, though, man. What happened to Sean Murphy? What happened to this guy? Remember last year when Sean Murphy just was setting the world on fire in the first month? And then this month, it's just been this year, it's been a clunker. He had injuries and whatnot. He just hasn't had it right. I think if he's fully healthy next year, I think you're going to see a better Sean Murphy. But, man, they need a little bit more. They need more. But the Braves, the key right now, and you saw it tonight with the Braves. They kept him in the ball game, but you give up 7 runs in the 9th inning. My goodness. I mean, Raisel Iglesias. What the heck happened with Raisel Iglesias? I mean, this guy's been lights out. Lights out. 5 earned runs tonight. Goodness gracious. Gave up the home run. Who hit the home run against him? Home run, Muncy. No, it wasn't Muncy. It was, Teoscar. Teoscar at 1 on. Yeah, man. Iglesias. A rare, rough outing. But, like, that's kind of one of those things, right, with this Braves team. It just feels like when you finally got something working, something else just tends to break. That's been the problem with the Braves this year, man. When they pitch, they can't hit. When they hit, the pitching kind of shuts off, right? They just can't find any consistency. But I will give you the fact that you still got one of the best rotations in all of Major League Baseball. You got Chris Sale, who's turned into, surprisingly, the best pitcher in all of Major League Baseball this year. He's going to win the Cy Young. You know, Fried's solid. You know, Morton, what was Morton's final line here tonight? Morton was solid, right? 1 earned in 6 innings. I'm just saying. You know, they can pitch. The problem is the Mets got more hitters right now. They got more bats. So, I don't know. Good question. Mighty Mark Jr., when is Riley and Albies coming back? I mean, yeah, they need those guys. If they can get those guys back, I mean, is there any updates on Riley and Albies? Riley. I mean, we haven't heard anything on him. There's nothing on RotoWire. Albies. He's not sure if Albies will play again in 2024. Okay. Oh, there you go. The one hope for the Braves right now is they get in and they just start getting just gems from the rotation. If they can get gem after gem after gem from Sale and Morton and Fried, and they can get just enough offense, I think the Braves could surprise some people because, again, postseason's about pitching, man. If you can pitch, you got a chance. They just need these guys. I mean, at the end of the day, is the offense what it is at this point? I think this is what it is. I think you just hope for the best. I think you hope Sale and Fried and Morton carry you through, and Schwellenbach gives you some solid outings, right? Bullpen tries to stay strong. I think that's what you hope for at this point. I don't know. I think just losing Ronald Acuna Jr. was such a tough loss because he just provided so much protection in the lineup. And then when you lose Riley and Albies, honestly, I think if you had Riley and Albies, I think you would still be in good shape. I think going into the last month, I think they would have been fine. But I don't know, man. It's tough. But right now, I mean, if we're looking at the odds, let's go to the odds. So they got the D-backs and Padres both at 86%. Don't got to worry about those guys. They got the Braves at 73%. They got the Mets at 40%. A part of me wants to just say it's going to be the Braves, but I feel like that's so disrespectful to what the Mets have been doing lately. I think at some point we got to give the Mets the respect they deserve, right? I think a lot of people out there think they're just on this kind of fun little run, and it's probably, it's going to stop at some point, and the Braves, they'll wake up in time, and they'll be fine. But I think at this point, I think we need to respect the Mets, right? I'm just saying. I don't know. But everyone, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Went about an hour tonight. I just wanted to kind of talk about the postseason races at this point. It's a very down time right now, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very down time. People are into football right now. We're in the middle of September. We're not really going to start seeing some steam here probably in another couple of weeks. So, I don't know. I am going to be working on some content this coming week. We got a few videos coming out this week. Again, when it comes to the streams right now, they're just kind of, they're not hitting. The algorithm's not really picking them up. People don't seem to be fully interested in the streams right now. I think just baseball in general is a little down right now. And you all know, how we are in this channel. I think the off season and the trade deadline kind of dominates the content on this channel. So I feel like, this kind of stuff, these talking points, they don't hit as much as that other kind of stuff that we love to talk about here. But, again, we'll see how it is next week. We'll see what the juice is feeling like next week. We might not be here for next week, but I definitely want to be on here live again at least a couple more times before the end of the year. We'll see. But everyone, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to wrap this up. Again, look out for content this week. I will be uploading. Maybe I'll be streaming next weekend. I'm not sure. But I do want to thank you for the super chats. Matthew Villarreal, Sound FX. I appreciate you very much, my friends. You guys are awesome. Thank you for that. But everyone, I'm out of here. Go get yourself some rest. Enjoy your coming week. And I'll talk to you next time.